Welcome to the 12th class on the structure and details of the second Beis Hamikdash. In this class, we're going to continue learning about the Heichel, and we're going to begin by seeing the structure that surrounded the Kodesh and Kodesh HaKadoshim. And as we can see right away, it's quite a complicated structure. We're going to talk about some of the parts of the structure as well as its measurements. So for starters, the doorway to the Kodesh was 10 amos wide. So that's this area over here. Like all other doorways, it was 10 amos wide, except for the doorway to the Ulam, which was 20 amos wide. And the doorpost was 6 amos wide. From here to here was 6 amos wide. And there were two doors that were 5 amos wide on each end of the doorway. So you have over here a door that was 5 amos wide and another one that was 5 amos wide. So that makes 10 amos to fill up the whole doorway. And another set of 2 doors at the other end of the doorway. Also over there, each of them was 5 amos wide. Now, to the side of this door, on each side, there was a door on each side of the doors to the Kodesh. One here to the right and one here to the left. The one to the right was used to enter into the side of the Kodesh and open its doors from the inside. And it's explained that the reason this was done was as a sign of respect, that it's not that someone came from the outside and opened up the doors, but rather someone came from the inside and opened the doors from there. Now, I just want to mention that the exact location of this path and how wide it was is not clear, so it's just here for a picture, but it's not exactly accurate in terms of the scale and the location. Now, moving along to these doors that were opened from the inside. So the doors were plated with gold, and when opened, they covered the areas that weren't plated with gold. These areas behind the doors were not plated with gold. So once the doors were opened, they covered those areas that weren't plated with gold, except for an amma of the doorposts. Because like we said, the doorposts were 6 amos wide and the doors were only 5 amos. So 1 amma wasn't covered. But once the doors were opened and all the other areas that were now covered by the doors, so that the whole Kodesh was now covered with gold, because the rest of the Kodesh was covered with gold, except for these areas. And once the doors were opened, they were also covered with gold. Now we're going to move on to talk a little bit about the measurements. In the previous class, we spoke about the measurements from Mizrach to Ma'ariv, from east to west. Now we're going to talk about the measurements from Tzafon to Durham, from north to south. So like we learned in a previous class, the width of the Kodesh and Kodesh HaKadoshim was 20 amos. We have 20 amos over here. So what's left is 80 amos, because the Heichel was 100 amos. So there were 40 amos on this side, on the Tzafon side, and 40 amos on this side, on the Durham side, and they were structured exactly the same. So let's go through it. So the wall of the Ulam was 5 amos thick. 5 amos is close to 8 feet. Then there was an area over here, we can see that's connected to the Ulam. So this was an area that was 10 amos wide, and it extended from the Ulam, and it was called the Beis HaChalifos. 10 amos is close to 16 feet. Then there were 6 walls and 5 spaces between them, and the spaces were called Taim. You can see on each side there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 walls and 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's go through their measurements. This was a wall that was 1 amma thick. This was a space that was 3 amos wide. Like we said, it's called the Ta, as are all the spaces. Then we have a wall that was 1 amma thick. Then again, we have a space, a Ta, that was 3 amos wide. Then a wall that was 1 amma thick. Then again, another Ta that was 3 amos wide. So we have 3 Ta'im, each being 3 amos wide. Then again, another wall that's 1 amma thick. All of the walls over here, as we can see, were 1 amma thick. Then there was a Ta that was 6 amos wide. So the ones that were 3 amos wide, 3 amos is close to 5 feet. The 6 amos is around 10 feet. Then again, there was a wall that was 1 amma thick. Then there was a Ta that was 4 amos wide. 4 amos is a little more than 6 feet. And then we have a wall that was 1 amma thick. And so each side had a total of 40 amos. Let's see how it totals up that way. We had a wall that was 5 amos. Then the Beis HaChalifos was 10 amos. That's this area here, so that's 15. Then a wall 16. A Ta that was 3 is 19. Then a wall that was 1 is 20. 23, 24, 27, 28, 34, 35, 39, 40 amos on each side. And so that's how we have the whole 100 amos. And with that, we'll end this class.